This is your Dragon of Icespire Peak DM guide for the Tower of Storms quest from the D&D Essentials Kit. Hi, Bob here, and welcome to Bob World Builder, the D&D channel where we improve our games together. For gameplay of this quest, check out my session in the full Dragon of Icespire Peak playlist linked in the description, and subscribe for new D&D videos every Wednesday. Tower of Storms is one of several side quest locations not mentioned on the job board in town. The Phandalin Tales table is the only way the book seeds this quest, so you can have any NPC tell the party about it, they could squeeze the tower's location out of a half-orc anchorite or be brought there as prisoners, or simply spot the location on the Sword Coast player map. And this is the only quest in the book where your low-level party has a chance to acquire a +1 weapon, which they will need to survive their encounter with the were-rats in the Mountain's Toe gold mine around level 4. Fortunately, Tower of Storms is balanced for 3rd level characters, but we'll be discussing how to scale it up or down depending on where you would like to include it in your campaign. The tower is only about a day and a half from Phandalin across low hills and grassy plains, so this could be a good time to reintroduce the Manticore from Umbrage Hill if your party had let it live, or to have Cryovane fly overhead scanning for a meal. Assuming the White Dragon spots your party with its +6 perception, remember, if it loses 10 or more hit points from an attack, it will leave to find weaker prey. Travel may be straightforward, but this quest has a lot going on. Sharks, sunken treasure, a god's blessing, an undead anchorite and their enlarged glowing heart, harpies, a banshee, and a giant talking crab. So here we go. First, your party approaches the tower from a 100-foot high cliff, and right here is where the harpies should attack. The book says 1 harpy for each character, to a max of 3, but you can remove this cap for higher level parties. Unless your PCs are being stealthy, the harpies will immediately spot them from their 80-foot high roost about 200 feet away and begin their luring song, which has a 300-foot range. Even with a relatively low wisdom save DC of 11, this encounter is pretty dangerous because technically, each character will have to succeed on a wisdom saving throw against each harpy's song to be entirely unaffected. But they cannot be charmed by more than 1 harpy at a time, and characters get a chance to repeat the save at the end of each of their turns, if they take damage from something other than a harpy, and before walking off the edge of the cliff. If they do walk off, a character would instantly take 10d6 bludgeoning damage for the fall. And if that doesn't kill them, just going unconscious down there, now 100 feet away from any allies, could be deadly. So I would at least rule that survivors are automatically immune to the harpy's charm. But consider having one of the harpies swoop to catch a falling character, and then drop them from a lower height. They aren't trying to splatter anyone, they're just hungry. And the book says that the harpies will retreat if reduced to 10 hit points, so they may live to hunt another day. And these semi-intelligent creatures apparently even speak common, which makes their whole concept a lot more cannibalistic, and frankly a little disturbing in my opinion. So I recommend before this session starts, just reminding your players that if any of the events start to cross a line for them, that they can raise their hand, speak up, or simply give a predetermined but subtle look that says, "I'm not okay with this." Ideally, you already know your players well and have discussed at some point early on in the campaign what everyone is and isn't okay with, but naked cannibal bird people might not have come up. So if anyone is visibly uncomfortable at any point in the session, stop the situation and take a break to discuss how the game can continue in an agreeable way, even if that means ending the session a little early. Your goal as a DM or a player should always be to make each session as enjoyable as possible for everyone at the table. So if you scrap the harpies or save them for later as written, the first encounter at the Tower of Storms is with this giant talking crab, who doesn't even have a name. So leave a comment with your recommendation for what to call this wacky talking crustacean. Anyway, our nameless friend meets your party down on the beach and tells them about the harpies, the sharks, the treasure, their undead master, Miral, the cave banshee, and about the stolen conch shell required to lay her to rest. But I would just have this crab meet your party right outside the banshee's cave, so they don't have to repeat this same conversation with her when they pass through it. And the adventure has no real conclusion for what happens to the crab once their master is at peace. So they could lose their intelligence or keep it. They could return to the sea a free crab or join your party as is. Or you could probably justify them being turned into a sea elf like their fallen master and becoming a sidekick or leaving on their own adventure. Side note, I wish I had read this encounter before playing the Axholm quest, because I wanted to create a solution to that Banshee problem where she could be put to rest, but everything I found on D&D Banshee lore said they were evil and it couldn't be done. So if you haven't played Axholm yet, consider letting your party find a way for that Banshee to rest in peace without killing her again. In Tower of Storms, the Banshee Cave and the Causeway are written to be exposed during low tide, so for a higher level party, you could decide the tide has come in, allowing the sharks to attack while your group approaches the temple. Another way to make these sharks into an actual threat is to have the anchorite calling a storm. The winds and rain make traversing the causeway and stairs a difficult task, and for every turn of movement, characters must exceed a DC 15 Constitution saving throw or fall into the water. Basically, if your party doesn't go in the water, these sharks don't really do anything, but that's okay. Especially for a low-level party who needs to save their strength for their battle with the anchorite. However, what adventurer doesn't want a cool shark tooth necklace? As a new player, I was always trying to harvest parts of monsters to craft new weapons or items and other tools to be used in the game. And now, we finally have an elegant rule set to help us do this in the Dragon of Icespire Peak. Not an official sponsor, but Monster Loot Dragon of Icespire Peak is the latest installment in Anne Gregerson's fantastic series, and it contains straightforward rules for harvesting and crafting unique gear and equipment for every creature in this module. For only 95 cents, this was an instant buy for me, and you can help the channel by picking it up using the DMs Guild affiliate link down in the description. Now let's get back to the show. The temple has 3 rooms on the main floor. T3, the foyer, T4, the shrine, and T7, where the anchorite Moesco is waiting for your party to come and fight in this small and otherwise empty room. But I would just leave this room empty. It makes more sense for him to be in the shrine, or even better, for Moesco and the shrine to be on the temple roof, area T8, where Talos, the god of storms, can be praised in the thunder and the rain. In any case, the shrine altar will grant any character who touches it the Charm of the Storm, a boon from Talos that allows them to cast the lightning bolt spell 3 times. For higher level parties, let Moesco already have this charm, so he can cast lightning bolt 4 times instead of just once. This makes him a far more challenging opponent and allows him to attack approaching characters from the plateau, the roof, or from atop the beacon, depending on their distance. I also gave Moesco a fly speed, but it didn't really help. It was just cool. If Moesco's heart in area T9 is not destroyed, they will respawn next to it 24 hours after being killed. This giant floating heart cannot be moved, and it blinds characters who look directly at it. But it only has an AC of 10 with 10 hit points, so even a PC covering their eyes, flailing a sword in its general direction, can destroy it fairly easily, causing it to implode. Though I think when a character approaches the heart, Talos should speak to them through it and invite them to serve him. They'll probably deny this evil god, but accepting could mean something as simple as getting to use the lightning bolt spell once per day, or as game-changing as taking a level in Paladin, Cleric, or Warlock. My main recommendation for this area is to enhance the implosion mentioned in the text by giving it the effect of a lightning bolt spell, and decreasing or increasing the damage output based on your party's level, and maybe throwing in a 10-foot shove for higher level characters who might just survive being blown off this 120-foot tower. And this location is the perfect place to seed the first D&D Beyond expansion quest, Stormlord's Wrath. One of the main villains is Ferali's Stormsworn, a high priestess of Talos who will soon establish a headquarters in a wrecked battleship near this very tower. So you could include a simple note from her to Moesco somewhere in the temple acknowledging all of the successful shipwrecks in the name of Talos, to hint to your players that other bad guys are somewhere out there. And as we near the end of this campaign, remember, I will be releasing at least one DM guide for each of the 3 expansion adventures, as well as some other hopefully helpful videos for Dragon of Icespire Peak, and maybe my own DM's Guild supplement compiling all of these guides into one digital booklet. But first, I am gradually working on content for a Patreon page. Oh, and in case you were wondering why there's a DM's Guild Blood Hunter guide in the middle of this playlist, that adventure takes place around Phandalin, so the video has a bunch of tips for tying it into this campaign. The Blood Hunter is a one-shot module for a DM and 1 player, so it's great for these days when we're all spending more time at home with just family. And the generous author, Anthony Joyce, is letting me do a giveaway, so check out that video linked in the cards to see how you can win a copy of the adventure. I've now been doing this channel for about 1 year, and all of these videos and side projects and this giveaway are possible because of your support. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and keep building.